going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Underestimated Podcast. It's your host, Jeremy Orr, back with another episode. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I just want to dive right into this. This is something that has kind of settled down a tad bit, but I still think it's worth putting to attention because I was personally invested in, interested in it, and I just want to kind of share my thoughts. So for those who haven't heard, which I mean, if you are in at least I'd say 10 to 15% in tune with the sports world, I think by now that you have heard the news about former Tennessee Volunteers quarterback Nico Iamaleava, now UCLA starting quarterback. This situation is honestly crazy to me. Now, of course, in anything done with life, like everything has its pros and cons. And I think this particular situation is what we should open our eyes to in terms of what could potentially go wrong or how far things could go from a detrimental perspective of what we have brought into the sports world, more specifically the college world, being NIL. Now, I think obviously watching a boatload of sports throughout, my lifetime, gaining fandom for certain players, certain teams, even certain coaches, etc. I've learned to kind of distinguish and differentiate my feelings for someone as a professional athlete, like as a player, and then them as a person. And what I mean in regards to this situation is I am a Nico Iamaleava fan. But the way he handled this situation, I'm not a fan of. So, I mean, am I attacking the kind of person he is? No, I'm never going to bash someone for wanting more money. And rightfully so. He's deserving of more money. He's, I believe, still a top 5 collegiate quarterback in the world. But loyalty and respect goes a long way in life, even in the sports world. The same thing applies. And what I mean by that is, I didn't even know this. I actually kind of, really what it stemmed from was I was trying to figure out how to properly pronounce his last name. So I was just going on YouTube and, searching Safari, trying to figure out how to properly pronounce his last name. And after I got it, I saw something, I think it was reported by the great Paul Feinbaum, that Tennessee actually fought for Nico last year to even be eligible to play this year, because the NCAA kind of was deeming him as ineligible. But Texas still allowed him to keep his eligibility and let him play the year out, balled out absolutely, and led Tennessee to the college football playoff. So now you mean to tell me, and I mean, when I heard this, I want to say I had class this day, and I want to say I might have found out in class, but like, my initial reaction was like, I was appalled because I knew there could be some downsides to the NIL. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but like I said, I'm never going to hate on someone getting money. Like, I mean, that's what we all want. We all want to be rich and wealthy, and whatever that means to you, and however you define that. But never would I have thought I would see a college football player taking NIL as serious as to say, yeah, I'm holding out. I'm not going to play until y'all pay me the money I feel like I deserve. Which is, downright absurd to me. And like I said, I'm a Nico fan. And I'm not attacking the person he is. Now, do I kind of look at him a bit differently now? To a certain degree, yes. Um, and then he left to go be at UCLA. And here's the funniest thing. A lot of people have deemed it as the first NIL trade because apparently, so Nico obviously transferred from Tennessee to UCLA. I want to say maybe like a week after. I don't know his name, but whoever was UCLA's quarterback last year, he's now transferred to Tennessee, and I assume I guess he'll be the starter this upcoming season, which is something simply unheard of. Now I know that the transfer portal has gotten pretty wicked, but I don't think I've seen anything like this. I mean, I've seen players, transfer from one school to another from their first year to their second year, and then the third year go back to the first school. Like I've seen things like of that nature, but to literally like in a sense swap quarterbacks is something that I think is something I've never seen before. And this is a pretty incredible, unique situation. But let's dive deeper into it. I mean, like I was saying, y'all, this is showing how NIL deals is transforming the college football landscape. Like, okay, so let's start with the background, right? So Nico Iamaleava was one of the top quarterback prospects in the country when he committed to the University of Tennessee, right? A California native. Now that he's going home, going to play for UCLA, he brought a ton of hype with him to Knoxville. I mean, the dude's the full package: strong arm, mobile, and just has an overall upside. But it wasn't just his talent that grabbed headlines. It was also the fact that he signed a massive NIL deal, reportedly worth $8 million through Tennessee's collective Spire Sports. And so that instantly made him kind of a poster boy, so to speak, for what NIL could mean for elite college athletes. So let's take a trip back to last season, right? So in the 2024 season, Nico finally got his chance to start and delivered in a big way. I mean, he threw for 2,616 yards and 19 touchdowns, while leading the Volunteers to a 10-3 record and a college football playoff appearance. I mean, he looked like the real deal, honestly. I mean, but just when it seemed like Tennessee had found out, just as Tennessee had, kind of thought they had found his quarterback for the future, now things have fallen apart, right? So reports surfaced that Nico and his camp wanted to renegotiate the terms of his NIL deal, requesting a significant raise, right? And so at the time, he was reportedly receiving, I would believe, about $2 million, and he wanted that number bumped up to $4 million. That conversation apparently didn't go well because when the university and his collective declined, Nico skipped multiple practices and was eventually benched. And so from that point on, it became clear that a transfer was more than likely to happen. But Tennessee's head coach, John Hupel, addressed the issue by saying that no one is bigger than the program, not even me. That statement told us everything that we need to know. And so now, shortly after entering the transfer portal, Nico committed to UCLA. The move came as a surprise to some, including myself. But I guess now that you look at it like him being a hometown kid. But I mean, like, I would have personally loved him at Alabama. They don't know what they want to do at quarterback right now. Jalen Miro is a Seahawk. Hey, yeah, welcome to Seattle, my boy. But no, they need a quarterback, and I would definitely take Nico over. I don't even know who's the quarterback there right now. So, I mean, he could have gone there. I would have thought Oklahoma would have been a nice place. Ole Miss would have been nice. I mean, the dude had options, but I mean, I get it. It's no place like home, so it is what it is, right? And so, like I said, it made sense when you think about it. He's a California kid returning home. And UCLA now finds itself with a legitimate 5-star quarterback to boost its Big Ten debut this season. And so, what's interesting about it though is that UCLA reportedly did not match the financial demands Nico had at Tennessee. So he's unlikely taking a pay cut. That speaks volumes. This wasn't just about money. Whether it was about trust, fit, or a breakdown in relationships, Nico clearly felt it was time for a fresh start. At UCLA, Nico enters a situation where he's in a quarterback room that already has some competition within it, right? So Ethan Garbers is a returning senior who threw for nearly 3,000 yards last season, and Joey Aguilar transferred in from Appalachian State, bringing nearly 7,000 career passing yards with him. And so it's going to be a battle for Nico. I still think hands down he's going to be QB1 by the start of the season. But I mean, you never know. Anything's likely to happen. But it'll be interesting to see how quickly though Nico can separate himself. I think he has something to prove. Like usually when, not just as an athlete, but as a person, when you make a bold move and the vast majority of your bold move is in the direction of negativity, so to speak, it puts more on you kind of to prove people wrong, right? Like, for instance, like we just saw the crazy downfall and slide in the draft that is happening with Shedeur Sanders, right? And like I was one who was surprised because I believe he's, for the ones who saw or have seen my mock draft that I put out a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen that, I'm plugging that in there right now. Go check it out. It's pretty fun. I think you'll enjoy. Go see now with the draft being out and done, how many of those picks. It's just the first round though. How many of those picks I was able to get correct. Anyway, I actually thought going number 6, I believe, in that draft to the Las Vegas Raiders. I thought that was the perfect situation for him. I still think Cleveland's not a bad fit, but Cleveland's history with quarterbacks isn't great. But that's neither here nor there. Shedeur still has to go back up the fact that he was a top 2 quarterback in college. I say he was the best. I love Cam. But I just don't think he's better than Shedeur. That's just me personally. Still think he's gonna have a great career though. But what I'm getting at is same thing applies for Nico. You caused all of this drama. You did all of this. You have to go and prove to all of us, not really me, I know the boy's a stud, but to all of us that this is what the decision that you made was worth making, right? And so now let's kind of zoom out and talk about the bigger picture here. So this situation shines a light on how complex and messy the NIL landscape can be, right? And so these aren't just endorsement deals anymore. These are million-dollar negotiations and sometimes broken promises. Nico's story is a prime example of what can happen when those expectations shift and communication breaks down. And so it also raises questions about representation and who's advising these players. You know, are they making decisions with long-term interest in mind? Some insiders say Nico had poor representation and that his camp mishandled the situation, and you know that kind of costed him his starting spot at Tennessee and some of his leverage, so to speak. This even had, you know, Ole Miss's head coach Lane Kiffin. He even came out and spoke about it, saying that, you know, people shouldn't rush to judge players like Nico without knowing the full story. And honestly, he has a point. We're in a completely different new era of college football, And these athletes are trying to maximize their value while also staying focused on winning and developing as an individual. And so that's a tough balance, especially for teenagers navigating the space with limited guidance. In the end, though, Nico Iamaleava's transfer is about more than just one player switching schools. It's a reflection of the growing pains of the NIL era. As fans, coaches, and media, we have to adjust our perspectives, obviously. And these athletes are no longer just athletes. They're high value investments with business decisions to make. Programs are going to have to figure it out in terms of how to manage those expectations while still building culture and trust in their locker rooms. So you look at it. What's next for Nico? What's next for Tennessee? If he can win the starting job at UCLA, which I believe he will, very easily, might I add at that, and perform at a high level, he has a chance to rewrite the narrative, right? Like, I feel like he has to at this point because, when you do something, it's always looked at differently when you're the 500th person to do it. He was the first. We have never seen nothing like this. Now, granted, we've only been in the NIL era for what, like, say 3-4 years maybe. So this is all still relatively new to all of us. But this is the first time we have seen something like this, right? Did I think things would get to this point? Honestly, no. I didn't. Never in my wildest imagination would I have envisioned I wake up one day and I get an ESPN notification saying that Nico Iamaleava has sat out of practice and will continue to hold out until he can get a contract negotiation with Tennessee. And Tennessee let him go. I mean, it's a crazy situation, you know what I mean? But he's still top tier talent. Like, regardless of what you may think or have to say about the man, he's still one of the best in the game. And so if he can win the starting job, like I said, in the perform at a high level and read the narrative and everything, the Bruins are betting on his upside. And so, but this saga will be remembered. We will never forget this because he was the first. Like, this is the first time we've seen anything like this. And so, not just for the headlines it created, but for what it revealed about where college football is headed. And so, I mean, what I think it all boils down to is I think this is just a incredibly unique situation. To be honest with you, this could be the start of something crazy. This isn't the last thing. This might not be the last time that we see something like this happen. This is wild. I mean, these guys are really getting big headed over this NIL thing now, and depending on who the guy is or who the female is, rightfully so, I guess. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on this situation. I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments or whatever. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all actually did pretty good, I would say, views wise on the last episode where I interviewed Savannah State junior pitcher Noah Brown. That was probably the most viewed video I've had in a minute, and probably the most viewed interview I've done. Which those aren't. There's more to come. It's just trying to get people on. You know what I mean? It's my schedule mixed with theirs and everything, and just trying to make that compatible. But I'm working on it, so y'all just stay tuned and stay with me. All right. I'm gonna get out of here though. Appreciate y'all tuning in like always. Always remember, don't underestimate, appreciate. No, I'm out of here.